Welcome to my video where I show you how to install Docker for Windows Subsystem for Linux 2. And my name is John Jolly, and we'll go ahead and get started right now. So at this point, Windows is installed. It has a installation of Windows Subsystem for Linux, having Ubuntu installed right now. Before we actually do the install of Ubuntu, or of Docker, on the Linux side of things, let's go ahead and install what is called Docker Desktop. Now, to do that properly, we are going to want to open up a PowerShell window. So Windows R, type in PowerShell, and Control-Shift-Enter will force it to be in admin mode. So now we have an admin PowerShell going on here. So the next step here is to actually download the Docker desktop installer package. Now we could do that from the browser. We're not going to. We're going to go ahead and install this on the command line using curl. Curl allows us to save the file where we want it. We'll save it in the temp directory. And this is the installer file that we're going to download. If you are not running 64-bit Windows, you'll want to go directly to the Docker desktop site and download for your particular architecture. Google is your friend here. So we're going to go ahead and let this download. It is a 500 megabyte download, so it will take a little bit of time. And there we have it. Now we have the install download. We're going to go ahead and run that installer from the command line. Now, because I put this in the temp directory using the environment variable, I need to launch it in a rather special way. I'm going to use ampersand, which is going to expand this environment variable out. But the installer will take two options. The first one is a command indicating we're doing an install, and then I'm going to specify that I would like this to be a quiet install. And now you can see that the installation is successful. We can go ahead and clear all this nonsense out and go ahead and restart our computer. We need to do a restart because Docker Desktop has to finish up some installation details. And there we have it. Our reboot is complete. I'm not going to do anything here for a few moments because Docker Desktop starts automatically. You can change that through the Docker Desktop settings, but I'm going to let it start, at which point it's going to bring up the Docker Desktop and ask me to do a few things first. So let's wait for that to happen. And there is the Docker Desktop's first step we have to go past. Unfortunately, we can't take care of this from the command line. We're dealing with Windows now. This is just simply your license agreement. Make sure you go through it if you're interested and choose to accept the terms. Accept that, and then let Docker Desktop come up. It will initially say that the Docker engine is starting, and this sometimes can take some time. This yellow bar here will go to green whenever the Docker engine is finally up and running. And there we go. It's gone ahead and started up. It's going to quickly flicker to this tutorial start screen. You are welcome to go through the tutorial. It'll only take a couple minutes. I'm just going to skip the tutorial here because it's not important to this video. And now you can see it says that there are no containers running. Well, there's a couple of ways to get containers running. You can go ahead and explore that through this, or we're going to go ahead and open our Windows Subsystem for Linux. So here's Ubuntu, and I'm actually going to shift things around a bit. I'll put this Docker up here, and I'll take my Windows Subsystem for Linux, put it down here. First thing I'm going to do inside WSL2 is I'm going to check to see that I belong to the Docker group. you can see here that it has added my user to the Docker group. That means I can run Docker commands like docker ps. Right now there are no Docker containers running. If you want to test, you can go ahead and copy this Docker run that it's suggesting here to see it work. And so we come over here, paste it into place, and press enter. And here we have it loading the images from the internet. Should be fairly quick. It will ask if you want to expose internet activity from Docker. Just go ahead and allow access. You can see inside the Docker desktop that it started up a container, and it's listed here. And we can actually list it within the Windows Subsystem for Linux by doing docker ps-a. And there is the Docker container that is running. This Docker container actually runs a small web app that we can test by loading up a browser. And in the browser URL, just simply type in http://localhost. This shows that the Docker container is running. This wouldn't show up if there was a problem with the container. So success. At this point, we know that Docker is running. We can go ahead and continue to run other Docker containers here and be able to get some work done.